now managing editor, I believe, is that the right title? And North American Hunter with the North American Hunting and Fishing Group. And so Dave Moss, here you go.
All right, before I all right. For later on in my talk, I'm going to need some audience participation. So I've got three people who are going to help me out here. Osowski, Charlie Moore, and Lynette. So you need to not look at this until called upon, okay? There's nothing, trust me, there's nothing dirty on there. It's simply the name of a fishing lure. All you're going to have to do is read what the name of the fishing lure is, and then for those of you who know what the lure is, and that would probably be John and Chuck, just give me, roughly your approximate size of what you think that fishing lure would be. It'll make sense a little bit later. I worked at camp from 87 through 91. I first heard about Camp Fish when I was sitting at the lounge at St. John's University, and I used to see being fishermen on TV. And then I saw these ads for Camp Fish, and I thought, man, I got to do something for a summer job before I student teach this fall. I went to college to be a math teacher. So I was going to be student teaching that fall. I needed a summer job. And this was, way before the internet or anything like that. So I wrote a handwritten letter, and I thought, I fished a bit, but I had no idea that I could teach somebody how to fish, even though I was trained as an educator, so to speak. So my thought was, maybe I can haul gas cans, maybe I can haul batteries, sweep docks, something like that. So I sent the letter, and it was probably Johnny that got back to me and called me and said, yeah, we should talk. Maybe you could work as an instructor. And I thought, oh man, I don't know about that. But he convinced me to at least give it a try, and I did. And I was an instructor my first year. And as I recall, Al Heft was head instructor that first year. And Al was a heck of a fisherman, for those of you who don't know. Al, his brother Brian's here today. And I learned a lot from Al and Bob Benedict and, just John Everly. The names go on and on about how to catch deep water bass. I had done none of that. So early on, of course, we all had to do seminars. And the most basic seminar that we all had to give was the FLP seminar. So today you're going to hear your last FLP seminar. So former staffers know that F plus L plus P, and then the Camp Fish factor, the EA equals TS. So the F part of the formula means understanding what makes a certain fish tick. Once you know what makes that fish tick, then you can start deciding about location and presentation. Now, the most philosophical and profound sentence I ever heard spoken at camp about this topic came from our own John Dainsburg. He used to say, before a guide special or even going out fishing on Long or May Lake, he'd say, fish, fish, don't fish memories. And I thought, that's pretty good advice and a catchy quote. And I'm sure Johnny probably stole it. Now, I remember another quote, and this one is from early in my Camp Fish career. I just finished what I thought was the best FLP seminar somebody could get. I knocked it out of the park. After the seminar, I opened up the floor to questions, and this little guy in the front row, probably on the bleachers, raises his hand. And I'm expecting him to ask me about thermocline, or how do you spell oligotrophic. And he looks me straight in the eyes and he says, do rock bass mind having red eyes? You'll have to ask Bob Epson, I suppose. So you can't catch something that's not there, so obviously the L part of the formula is critical. That reminds me of one story. I had just finished giving an electronics seminar. I was often the guy who had to drive the pontoon around and show people the difference between a paper graph, a liquid crystal, and a flasher. And I was coming along the left side, looking along the left side of second basin, talking about drop-offs and stuff, and I took the pontoon over this huge school of crappies, about midway on second base. And I was going to be taking kids out fishing in about an hour. And I thought, I'm going to take them onto this spot. So everybody gathers on the dock, and at this time I was head instructor, so I needed to wait until all the other guides came down, so everybody gets in a boat, so everybody's, accounted for before we would go out. And there were guys like South, where's South? Okay, South. South would get to the dock right away, early. Why? Not because he's necessarily prompt. He wants to get all the little Al Linders in his boat, right? The guys with their own rods, stickers on the tackle box, they got the shades, they're ready to go. Stacking the deck, So South gets his three little Al's in his boat. Everybody else gets distributed to theirs. And of course, because I'm last, I get whoever wanders down last. Well, in this case, there were these 3 girls. I don't think they really even wanted to be there. But they come down the dock, so all the boats leave. The girls get in my boat, but I thought, that's okay. I know where to go. So we head down, and we just start smoking crappies in second basin. It's a spot that I had never caught schooled crappies before. And we're catching fish, hand over fist. I mean, it was just as hot as could be. And I'm pretty far out from the drop-off, so I'm thinking at some point, there's always boats moving around. You only fish a certain spot so long, and people are going to be coming by. And I looked out, and sure enough, around the sand point, from first basin into second, heading towards third basin, here comes Sowbelly. Right down the middle of the lake, and then he sees me. So he knows something's up. So he starts putting in, he sees us. You remember this, Jay? He sees us catching fish. All 3 of his little Al's stand up, they're ready to roll. And I have the girls yell what I think they should yell, "Get off my lake." And South ignores them, comes right on in and gets from here to that back wall away. So now we've got basically the crappie school as bookend. We got weed line on the inside. They don't want to go so far out into the middle of the lake, and we got them on each side of us. So for a while, we're sharing the fish. Well, pretty soon, the girls in my boat, we've already caught a lot, and they don't have all that great interest in competing with the boys over fish. So pretty soon, they're sitting down in the boat, and they're talking about this, that, and the other thing. And I thought, okay. And it was getting to be about the end of our regulated fishing time anyway, so I go like this to the girls, and they come back, and I tell them something, and Jay and his little Al's are pounding the fish. The girls set down the rods, and each one stands on a boat seat. And that's a no-no at Camp Fish. You do not stand on the boat seat. And if Jay had one mission, if South had one mission at Camp Fish, it was to catch me doing something wrong. And then reporting it back to John or Crava. So he immediately has his kids yelling, "You can't stand on the boat seats! You can't stand on the boat seats!" And I simply nodded to the girls, and what did they do, Sal?
Did they jump in the, I can't remember.
They jumped right in the lake.
That's what I thought.
And they swam right through the crappies. Splashing and hollering as much as they could. And it was the last fish that was caught out of that crappie. All right, the key part of the presentation. Using the right lure in the right way, delivered by the right rod, reel, and line combo. Now this is a story I love to tell. I've told it probably dozens of times. And believe it or not, I don't even know if it's true. I mean, it could be camp fish legend. And I think I was there. I'm not sure I was there. It's such a good story, though, that I want to believe I was there. So a young boy has been out fishing, one of the campers, and he's got a spin cast reel, a Zebco 202, and he's out fishing, and his line keeps stopping. It goes out 15 feet, and of course it hangs up inside the closed face, and it jerks back. And he can't get it to work. And, you know, who knows? Maybe he had Vaughn Blackburn as a guide, and Vaughn couldn't figure out how to get it fixed. So he tells the little guy, go to the tackle room, and those guys will fix you up. So the kid goes to the tackle room. You know, keep in mind, probably his first time away from home, he's probably 9. You walk into the tackle room, and it's nice high countertop, you know, post. I mean, it looks like NASCAR with all the different posters around and stuff. Waits his turn, steps up like belly to the bar, so to speak. And who does he see behind? Usually it was Al Heff, I think, at this time. And next to him is Chris Hansen. Now, for those of you that don't know Chris can be a little bit intimidating, because Chris can be a little grumpy at times. So the kid, you know, hands his spinning reel up and says, I can't remember my guy's name, but he says that I should bring this in to see if I can get this reel fixed. It sticks when I cast. And Chris reaches down, I mean like God from above. Let me see it. Chris takes the reel, looks at it, raises it above his head, and smashes it. Pieces go flying. The little kid is, you know, he's like, I've got 2 young boys, you know, they fall, they get hurt, you know the crying's going to come, but you got like 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 3 to hug him. He's like ready to burst, and Chris reaches down below, grabs a brand new blister pack, probably a Johnson, one of those 2-tone green reels, gives it to him and says, here, this one